Most people live loud and die forgotten. They chase attention, arguments, small victories that vanish the moment they're gone. They fight daily battles but build nothing permanent. They're playing for applause, not for legacy. And here's the brutal truth. Applause fades the second you leave the room. But legacy? Legacy echoes for generations. The difference between temporary power and permanent influence is simple. One is grabbed, the other is built. When you grab power, you're constantly fighting to keep it. Every day is a struggle. Every challenger is a threat. The moment you show weakness, it's taken from you. But when you build power, when you construct it piece by piece, strategically, patiently, you create something that doesn't depend on your constant presence. You create systems that run without you, relationships that strengthen in your absence, influence that grows while you sleep. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this. He didn't just write about winning battles. He wrote about building fortresses, both physical and psychological, that make battles unnecessary. Today I'm giving you 10 principles for building untouchable influence. Not grabbing it, not performing it, building it. These aren't tactics for quick wins. They're architectural principles for constructing power that lasts. If you apply them, you won't just command respect today. You'll build a foundation that makes you irreplaceable tomorrow and remembered long after you're gone. Lock this into your mind and drop it in the comments. I build empires, not moments. Principle 1. Information architecture. Control information, control power. The person who controls the flow of information controls the game. Knowledge is power, but only if you decide who knows what and when. In life, the loudest people often know the least. They talk, overshare, give away their leverage without realizing it. The powerful do the opposite. They filter information. They feed people only what serves their strategy, never the full truth. This is information architecture, building a system where you control the narrative, the flow, the timing of what people learn. At work, in business, even in personal relationships, the one who decides what is revealed and what is hidden silently runs the show. People cannot attack what they do not understand. They cannot sabotage what they cannot see. Even a rumor can be a weapon if you plant it at the right time. Misdirection keeps enemies chasing shadows while you make real moves. Control the narrative and you control perception. Control perception and you control reality. Machiavelli said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." Information is the leash that keeps both in your hands. How do you build this architecture? Create information tiers. Not everyone gets the same level of access. The public gets surface information, what you do, not why or how. Allies get selective depth, enough to feel valued, not enough to threaten you. Only your innermost circle gets strategic truth, and even then, only what they need. Build systems where information flows toward you but rarely away from you. Be the person others come to for knowledge. Be the hub through which important information passes. When you control information flow, you control power distribution. Fear calibration. Use fear to keep people in line, but use it precisely. Love makes people comfortable. Fear keeps them alert. If everyone around you feels completely safe, they will eventually test your limits. They'll grow bold, careless, disrespectful. But a small dose of fear keeps order where words cannot. This doesn't mean ruling with cruelty. It means never letting people forget the consequences of crossing you. Maybe it's the way you look at someone when they overstep. Maybe it's how quickly you cut off someone who disrespects your boundaries. Maybe it's the silence after betrayal that leaves them wondering what comes next. The powerful make people think twice before challenging them. Fear creates hesitation. Hesitation keeps you in control. Even in friendships, relationships, or business, respect comes from understanding that stepping out of line has a cost. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Let them admire you, but make sure a part of them fears losing you or facing you. Here's the calibration. Too much fear creates rebellion. People unite against tyrants. Too little fear creates contempt. People walk over the harmless. The perfect calibration is subtle fear. Not terror, but awareness. Not cruelty, but consequence. They should know, not from threats, but from observation, that crossing you has costs, that your boundaries are real, that your patience has limits. This creates an invisible order. People self-regulate around you because they understand the architecture of consequences. You don't have to enforce constantly. The architecture enforces itself. Weakness, elimination. Cut off weakness without mercy. Weakness spreads like disease. If you surround yourself with lazy, fearful, or disloyal people, their energy will infect you. They'll slow your moves, drain your focus, pull you into their failures. The powerful are ruthless about their circle. They keep people who are sharp, loyal, useful. Everyone else is cut off, quickly and quietly. This isn't cruelty, it's survival. Look at your life right now. Who makes excuses? Who brings drama? Who's always taking but never giving? Every moment you tolerate them, you lose momentum. Power demands clarity. Dead weight is the enemy of clarity. Even in yourself, cut off weakness. Destroy the habits that make you soft. Face the fears that hold you back. If you carry weakness, the world will smell it and attack. Machiavelli said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Your power is only as strong as the people and habits you allow near it. Building this principle requires brutal honesty. Audit your circle regularly. Who adds value? Who drains it? Who pushes you forward? Who holds you back? Make the hard cuts. Remove the energy vampires. Eliminate the distractions disguised as friendships. This applies to habits too. Every weak habit is a vulnerability. Every excuse you accept from yourself is a crack in your foundation. Build a zero-tolerance policy for weakness, in others and in yourself. The strongest fortresses have no weak points. Be that fortress. Strategic unpredictability. Always leave them guessing. Predictability is weakness. The moment people can read your next move, they can control it. They can trap you, outmaneuver you, destroy your advantage before you even act. Power thrives in unpredictability. When people can't figure you out, they hesitate. They overthink. They waste energy trying to predict your next step while you move freely. In life, never let anyone fully map your patterns. Change your routines. Switch up your approach. Surprise with your timing. Sometimes disappear when they expect you to show up. Sometimes strike when they think you're asleep. Even in conversations, unpredictability works. A pause, a smile, a sudden change of topic, all make people lean in. Mystery forces respect because people fear what they cannot calculate. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Keep your opponents in the dark. Keep your friends curious. Keep the world guessing. The unknown is your shield. Strategic unpredictability doesn't mean being random. It means being deliberately variable. Establish patterns, then break them. Be generous, then suddenly withholding. Be present, then absent. Be warm, then cold. The inconsistency keeps people off balance. They can't develop a counter-strategy because there's no consistent pattern to counter. This creates psychological advantage. While others are trying to figure you out, you're 10 steps ahead because you're not confined by predictable patterns. Unpredictability is freedom. Use it. Legacy thinking. Leave a legacy of power, not noise. Most people think short-term. They play for immediate wins, quick validation, temporary advantages. The powerful think differently. They play for legacy, not applause. Legacy is built through moves that outlive your presence. It's the business you create. The influence you establish. The reputation you carve into the minds of others. When you move with long-term intention, every decision becomes sharper. Every action carries weight. This also means knowing when to step back. The loudest man in the room often burns out first. The quiet strategist who plants seeds and lets them grow becomes untouchable even in absence. Ask yourself daily, if I disappeared tomorrow, would my presence still be felt? If the answer is no, you're playing too small. Machiavelli said, "The best fortress is to be found in the love of the people." True power is not noise. It's the echo you leave behind when you no longer need to speak. Legacy thinking changes how you make decisions. Instead of what wins today, you ask what builds tomorrow. Instead of what gets attention, you ask what creates lasting influence. Instead of what makes me look good, you ask what makes me structurally irreplaceable. Build systems, not moments. Create institutions, not performances. Develop others who carry your principles forward. The greatest power is the power that continues after you've left the room. That's legacy. That's what endures. Competitive tension. Keep people competing for your approval. Power dies the moment people feel secure around you. When everyone knows their place is guaranteed. They grow lazy. They stop fearing loss. They stop trying to impress you. The powerful create invisible competition. They let people believe their position, favor, or reward depends on staying useful. When people compete for your attention or approval, they move with intensity. They work harder. They fight to stay close. This doesn't mean being cruel. It means being strategic. Give small rewards, then pull back. Show attention, then turn away. Make your presence feel like a prize. Those who feel chosen will give you more than those who feel safe. History's most powerful leaders always kept their circles competing. Allies stayed sharp because they feared being replaced. Enemies hesitated because they never knew who had the leader's ear. Machiavelli said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. If they want your approval, you hold the strings. Building competitive tension requires subtlety. You're not obviously pitting people against each other. You're creating an environment where excellence is rewarded and mediocrity is quietly sidelined. Recognize achievement publicly but inconsistently. This keeps people working for the next recognition. Rotate your attention. Never let anyone feel they have permanent favor. Create multiple paths to your inner circle. Let people see that the route isn't fixed, it's earned continuously. This keeps your circle dynamic, hungry, and performing at peak. Complacency never sets in because security is never guaranteed. The competitive tension maintains quality control in your circle automatically. Threat elimination. Crush threats before they grow. A small problem ignored becomes a disaster. A minor enemy tolerated becomes a rival. Powerful people don't wait for threats to mature. They end them while they're still weak. In life, the person who gossips about you today will try to ruin you tomorrow. The co-worker who competes silently will one day challenge your position. The family member who envies you will eventually strike when your guard is down. You cannot be sentimental in the game of power. Address threats quickly and quietly. Remove them from your circle. Cut their influence. Outshine them so completely they can't rise again. If you wait until they're strong, it's already too late. History favors the decisive. The rulers who survived were not the kindest. They were the most vigilant. Mercy for a growing threat is cruelty to yourself. Machiavelli said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." Protect your throne. End problems before they learn to walk. Threat elimination requires constant vigilance. Scan your environment regularly. Who's building influence that conflicts with yours? Who's quietly undermining your position? Who's positioning themselves as your replacement? These aren't paranoid questions, they're strategic awareness. When you identify a threat, assess its growth trajectory. If it's minor and contained, monitoring might suffice. If it's growing and has resources, elimination is necessary. Elimination doesn't always mean confrontation. Sometimes it's removing their resources. Sometimes it's exposing their incompetence. Sometimes it's simply excluding them from key decisions until they're irrelevant. The key is acting while you have overwhelming advantage, not waiting until it's a fair fight.